I tell you, boy, we do this
I'm trying to tell you, boy, trial and tribulation.
Look, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and look. Thank y'all for turning the channel to the show. Hitting us up and everything. Thank y'all. So let y'all know y'all better like this show because we have some trials and tribulations before we started. That's the price.
That's the price you pay, boy.
Man, that's the price of making good content. Man said you got to pay the cost to be the boss. So
don't you?
Ka-ching, daggone.
Good.
But like I said, welcome back to the show. And that show is the Back Porch Sports Podcast with your man Fonz.
Ain't going.
All right. I usually ask you how your day went, but we both had a rough hour and a half, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this topic. So we did another one dealing with the questions from the war room. Told y'all last week we was going to do it again.
Right.
So before I get into it, thank you guys for engaging in the post. And if you want to have your questions done on a future show, please join the Back Porch Sports Podcast War Room. You never know we're going to put it out there, but when we do, you're free to jump on board and we will answer your questions and topics right here on this here show. So let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? First question came from my brother, Keith Wright. And he wants to know our thoughts on the Panthers draft choices and what real chance they have rebuilding this team. And I'm going to go ahead and start it first. There is a saying that goes, my brother, Rome was not built in a day.
Good.
See, it is my opinion that the Panthers are trying to correct a 10-year problem. This problem started when they decided to let Steve Smith walk out the door, in my opinion. This problem manifested himself. Of course, we got Cam Newton's MVP campaign and the Super Bowl run. So it had a peak. But now you in the valley. What I will say is that Carolina is attempting to make strides to return at least to second in the division. At least, because right now Tampa Bay and Atlanta are kind of better, in my opinion, than Carolina right now on paper. But they're making good strides. My only qualm with that whole thing was, and just going over the draft picks, you got Xavier Leggett, Jonathan Brooks, Trevin Wallace, Jatavion Sanders, Charles Smith Wade, Jaden Crumdy, and Michael Barrett. Not one of those picks was for the offensive line. Wide receiver, right, running back, linebacker, tight end, cornerback, defensive tackle, and linebacker, respectively. Not one was
offensive lineman.
An offensive lineman. And this
draft
was
a good class for offensive line.
That's what I was getting ready to say. This draft was kind of good for offensive linemen. You could have got an offensive lineman in later rounds and probably would have got a Pro Bowler. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take it's going to take I don't want to say it's going to take a decade because that's like the worst case scenario.
No, that's too long.
But I'm going to say within the next
3 years, I think
between next 3 to 5 years, I think they'll be okay. I think as Carolina retools and regroups, I think that division it's already weak as it is, but it could potentially get weaker. But I think at some point within the next 3 to 5 years, Carolina could contend for that division title. This year, on the other hand, just
sit back and enjoy another. Hey, you should get some good draft picks again, so we'll see how you do next year.
I saw a post on Facebook. The PSL tickets were $21 for the year. So if they try to fill that bad boy up, Charlotte ain't that far.
You pack it out for preseason, buddy.
Yes, but all seriousness though, like Bryce Young really, he can't play looking up in the sky.
Right.
He can't play running for his life.
Yeah.
Y'all got to address that offensive line. I mean, the picks were solid. Don't get me wrong. Y'all addressed some needs, especially on defense. But y'all got to get that offensive line together. And that's my opinion on it.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty much just echoing what you said about, the Panthers trying to get some talent at the skill position for Bryce Young, bringing in Xavier Leggett, who brings in a ton of versatility, his ability to make plays on the field, catching passes, jet sweeps, also kick returns, something that the Panthers didn't have last year. Also, he runs faster than any current wide receiver on their roster currently at 4.3. I definitely think he starts in the offseason, hopefully, talking about Xavier Leggett. He's going to be a complimentary piece to Deontay Johnson, who came in throughout free agency. Adam Thielen is still there. And then they got an end zone machine and Jonathan Brooks, who Panthers took second round, even though they have Miles Sanders and Chubb Hubbard. So, like you said, man, they definitely are moving in the right direction to give Bryce Young some weapons to have offensively. And they, did they due diligence, drafting some defensive pieces as well. But like you said, man, it's going to be a while before you actually see the Panthers get back to that 2015 season, I believe, where they went 14-2 and went to Super Bowl. So it's going to be a while before we get there, but they got some solid pieces in place. It's just going to take some time.
Of course.
Solid food is for the mature. So
the milk is for
the babies. So just enjoy your Gerber and keep it pushing.
Yeah, I mean that's just it. I mean, it's gonna be a bumpy ride, but that team it's gonna be a young team regardless. And just enjoy the ride. It's gonna be some lumps. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now, it's gonna be some lumps, but that's what a rebuild is all about. Y'all got to rebuild, regroup, and retool.
Yeah.
All right. So up next, question from D. Ward Stevens, aka Corey Stevens. He asked a Derrick Henry question. He said, "How complimentary to the offense do you feel adding Henry would be to that backfield?" I'm gonna go ahead and knock that one out the park. Best case scenario, right? This is going to be good because the Ravens' rushing attack is already hitting historic numbers without Henry. I think a couple of years ago, the Ravens' run attack smashed a record that was about 45, 50 years old. I think it was by the Patriots of the 60s and 70s, one of them. What's going to happen? Again, this is the best case scenario. What's going to happen is the teams are truly going to have to pick their poison when it comes to stopping the run now, because already know Lamar is always a threat to run the ball on every play.
Yep.
But the key to really unlocking that backfield for real is Keaton Mitchell.
I'm excited that y'all get him back. Honestly, he ran pretty good last year.
Don't get me wrong, I like Derrick Henry. I like the acquisition. I like what he brings to the Ravens table. But Keaton Mitchell is going to be the reason why that run attack is going to run like a well-oiled machine. So that's really a 1, 2, 3 punch. To the point that Lamar probably don't have to run as much. Like, I can see Lamar rushing for 500 yards this year. I can see Keaton Mitchell running for about 650, 700 once he come back, because obviously he's going to miss a couple of games. And I can see Derrick Henry cracking 900. And that's saving him, because at the end of the day, Derrick Henry he's in that Gus Edwards role now. Because Gus Edwards was the battering ram, so to speak. The thing about it is they gonna have to use him to his full potential. Yeah, he's older, he's 30 years old, but the man just came off an 1,100-yard season. So, I mean that's saying something.
Yeah.
I expect the Ravens to implement some of the tactics that the Tennessee Titans did with Derrick Henry, especially near the goal line.
Right. Yep.
One of my favorite plays, even though he did it against my squad a couple of times, is when they did a direct snap to Derrick Henry. He tossed for a touchdown. I think it's gimmicky, but not too many people stop it.
That little wildcat.
I mean, the direct snaps to Henry, the RPOs is if the Ravens, I just need the Ravens to do this right. If the Ravens coaching staff do this the correct way, the way I'm seeing it, the way I see it coming to fruition, like I said, you got a 500-yard rusher, you got about a 700-yard rusher, you got a 900 rusher. That's going to be well close to 2,000 yards almost. Right. So, yeah, that's my take on that, bro.
Well, again, echoing some points that you made already, I think the addition brings on a challenge. Of course, I look at the Ravens from a challenge perspective because I'm used to just playing them on the field. So I don't really look at it from that perspective. Anyways, it's going to be a challenge for the opposing defense. He should fit well if he stays healthy. That's the key. When you go back and look at the Ravens last year, you see them being the top rushing team in the NFL per game already without Henry. Trace them back to that one-score game loss versus Kansas City. Henry would have been useful as Baltimore struggled to find a rhythm in the run game, which made it a one-man show with Jackson. Jackson has already led the team in rushing yards 5 seasons, being the top in 3 out of the 5. And Derrick Henry, who already leads current players with 9,500 rushing yards, 90 rushing touchdowns, seems to be the ideal fit for a team like the Ravens, who's looking to get over the hump. Henry presence alone should open up the offense more, and it should be interesting, like you already said, to see how they use the squad in the red zone. Let's not forget that I think Likely will be able to get some more PT. He's a proven player when the opportunity is presented to him. Then they still got Flowers and Mark Andrews, and I just think that Derrick Henry's presence back there will open up some things for the receivers as well and the tight ends. So this is a great fit. I hate it. I hate it because it fits so well. And pause. And I hope that y'all guys use it in the correct way, because if not, it's not going to be looking too good.
I mean, honestly,
I don't think it's no way you guys cannot succeed. I mean, y'all should probably be number 1 seed before week 10. In my opinion.
Right now, like my man Biggie said, the sky's the limit at this point, bro.
Right.
That was a real good question. So we're gonna keep this thing rolling. So James Collins, the day one. This is crazy. I answered this one quickly, so 30 seconds. I got this. This is an out-of-the-box fun question, since you talk about me and Quan's team is in the AFC North. The question is, what draft class would you trade within your division? And I said none of them.
And I didn't really know whether he was talking about this year or in the past, so I gave 2 points, but I'll let you go.
Yeah. I mean, now that you mention it, I would... If we talking historical drafts, I would gladly trade that Antonio Brown draft.
I bet you would. I knew you was going there. I knew you was going there. I bet you would. He got drafted in the 6th round. That was crazy.
But just imagine Antonio Brown on one side, and Quan Bolden on the other side.
Yeah.
That would have been scary.
But see, what you thinking about though? You thinking about the full furnace of AB. See, AB, it wasn't AB. He was ABC when he came in the league.
But you got to think about it. In that locker room, and I'm talking about the Ravens, in that Ravens locker room at that time, with those dogs that was in there, AB would have flourished, especially because he started out as a special teams guy. That is John Harbaugh's forte. So if I would say historical draft, I would say that particular draft with y'all. Honestly, a close second would be the AJ Green trade. That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy too. But as far as now, I don't see. And I went through everybody, all the rest of the divisions.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
For this year,
it wasn't interesting at all.
Nobody really jumped out at me because all of us except for the Bengals was picking mid to late round.
Yeah.
So and then there's differences in draft philosophy. You know, like for instance, the Bengals they go straight up. They go ahead and get their guy.
You're right.
They don't. That's why they're in the situation they in now.
Right.
But with Baltimore, they use the best player available philosophy, and what that is that they addresses the need by getting the best player. And also Eric DeCosta, the GM, he loves his draft picks. He will not wheel and deal in the draft for nobody. It got to be good,
right,
for him to trade away draft picks. He's always trying to acquire those draft picks. And that philosophy has worked, honestly, for the past 26 years. It started with Ozzie Newsome, now it's with Eric DeCosta. So to answer that question, the short version, not this year. But like I said, it's on past drafts. I'm like, dang, I wish we could have got that.
Yeah, I did a sample size of the past 5 draft classes. But just to answer the question, I think this year, just a tad, I do like what Baltimore did in the draft, in the secondary, getting Nate Wiggins and TJ Tampa in the backfield. That's going to be great. That's the area where I wish the Steelers would have attacked, even though we did, I think, draft 1 corner. But nevertheless, we would somewhat be keeping our offensive line because Baltimore drafted a few offensive linemen. But outside of that, give me 2018 Cleveland Brown draft choices. Give me Baker would have been all right behind Ben.
That's facts. That's facts.
But give me Nick Chubb and Denzel Ward, 2 Pro Bowlers drafted. That's hey.
That would have got y'all the Super Bowl, to be honest, though.
Hey.
That would have got y'all the Super Bowl.
I'm just saying. That would have been like Jerome Bennett's back there, the Buzz and Denzel Ward. Boy, that would have been nice. I ain't gonna lie. Now that's a draft class. Give me 2018 Browns draft picks.
But see, with the Browns, they ain't got no choice but to have a lot of number 1.
I know the graveyard.
This factory of sadness out there. But yeah, that's who I would pick. If I was going to do a historical draft, I would go with Pittsburgh when they drafted AJ Brown, but
Antonio Brown. I got you.
Antonio Brown, that guy. When they drafted him in the 6th round, I don't think he would. Honestly, with the Ravens, I don't think he would have fell to the 6th round. But that's just me.
Really?
Nah. I think because of what he had coming out of college, I think he still would have failed, but I still would have took that chance.
Because what you know now, right?
Knowing what I know now, I would have took that chance. But the only thing about it was
keep a double helmet on him. That's the only thing about it.
We had to put pillows inside his helmet.
I'm trying to tell you.
We played when we played the Bengals at the time. You give out 2-3 plays.
Yeah, you sit out. Yeah. We don't need
you. So James, appreciate that question. But he got another. It was a part 2 to that question. So he asked, what is the good, bad, and ugly about our team's roster, coaching, schedule, etc.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and jump with this. So for the Ravens, for the good, I'm gonna say the roster, because we really filled some necessary positions such as cornerback and wide receiver. And then it goes back to what I was saying about trading the draft trade thing. The Ravens have consistently built quality rosters, year in and year out. Sometimes I look at them strange, but most of the time it's a quality roster, because we, especially with those undrafted free agents, I don't know what in the world we got going on there. The bad is obviously the schedule. The schedule, like, we got the AFC Championship rematch week 1.
Yeah,
it's like I know it's money. I know it's a lot of money, But I can't get mad because we aren't that particular schedule. And honestly, we've had tougher schedules and wound up in the top 5, finishing out the season in the AFC. Between, one and was, well, we ain't been one much, but maybe about 4 or 3 or something like that. Now, my ugly is coaching. Reason being is because we lost our defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. He became the head coach of the Seahawks, which is a track record with the Ravens organization from Rex Ryan to Chuck Pagano, and now Mike McDonald. Mike Nolan back in the day, he became a head coach. So there's a lot of head coaches that came out the Baltimore Ravens organization. And I'm not sure how Zach Orr, who's the new defensive coordinator, I'm not sure how he's going to innovate and regenerate this defense. Especially how the schedule is, where it's kind of front loaded, and then it's front loaded at the front and front loaded at and back loaded at the back. So I need to see how is he going to keep the same system? Is he going to do some tweaks to it? We don't know.
Right.
And then my main culprit, and then John Harbaugh. I have a love-hate relationship with John Harbaugh simply because there's stretches where you think he's a Hall of Fame coach. And then there's stretches where he feels like he's the smartest person on the field.
Wow.
And he gets out-coached. And as we saw in the AFC Championship game, he gets out-muscled sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my good, bad, and ugly for that right there.
Well, the good, bad, ugly for the Steelers would be good. Of course, you already know the quarterback situation. We are in that horrible quarterback situation we was a few months ago. I believe bringing in Russell Wilson and Field gives us some type of positive to our quarterback room. It's just a matter of knowing which one is going to perform. It's truly the only speculation. But I think it's better than having Kenny, Trubisky, and Rudolph. No disrespect.
Oh, hey, that's an upgrade.
All right. The bad would be, I think the Steelers front 7 is okay, per usual. Hopefully finding a replacement talent at defensive tackle for Cam Hayward, because he's getting long in the tooth.
Yeah.
But I'm really concerned about the Steelers' defensive backs in the backfield outside of Mika Fitzpatrick. I'm not sure if this young backfield would be an improvement. You got to realize last year we had Patrick Peterson, Hall of Fame corner. He was there. We still had, Joey Porter Jr. It was just different. Now it's just a whole lot of different guys, brought in a guy from Carolina, but we got more interceptions in the season than he did in his career. So I'm not really big on our backfield. And the ugly will have to be the scheduling. After the bye week, I think it's the most ugliest I ever seen. All divisional games, back-to-back weeks, mixed with Kansas and the Eagles. It's a tough ending. And I'm just hoping we can withstand.
The NFL did not do y'all no favors.
I'm trying to tell you, boy. They're trying to take us down.
Stick it to you, boy. Pause. That was a good question, though. That was a real good one. I like that one. That one made me really think hard about what I like, love, and dislike about the Ravens. But good question. So, James, he got another question. He says, who is the most valuable player
I enjoyed this one.
Me too. That was no brainer for me. That you cannot afford to lose the injury. That's not a quarterback. Mine is Kyle Hamilton.
Okay, it's on your fandom.
It would not be good at all if we lose Kyle Hamilton for a significant amount of time, because not only does he play safety,
he a dog. I ain't gonna lie.
He is a safety, but he's a deep safety. He's a box safety. He can play the corner. He can play nickel. He can play linebacker. He can even play outside linebacker. And he can rush the
be all over the field. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. He showed himself during the playoffs, especially.
I ain't gonna say the playoffs. He showed himself Christmas night. Christmas night.
Who y'all play Christmas night?
The 49ers.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember that. Oh, yeah, I do remember that game. Yeah, that was a good name. Yeah, that was a good game. Yeah.
man. Shout out to all the 49er fans. Look, I was dreading that game. Man, he was front. I told him I ain't want no smoke with him, man. I ain't want no smoke. Especially we had to go to their house, boy. We went in there like the Grinch, though, boy.
I'm trying to tell you, boy, you're a mean one.
Yes, sir.
It's the Grinch.
Slippery than the eel, boy.
I'm trying to tell you, boy. I'm trying to tell you.
But yeah, but for me though, I think from a Ravens standpoint, Kyle Hamilton would be that one.
You're right. Well, I try to make an A on this paper. I did 5 players that a team cannot. I try to make an A on the paper. Number one still is, of course, TJ Watt. Still is at 1-10 without him. Enough said there. Number 2, Myles Garrett. Browns are 4-11 without Myles Garrett. Number 3, Tyreek Hill. Losing him would be detrimental to
catastrophic to
the Dolphins offense. He had an outstanding season. Some say he should have won MVP. He was in the MVP conversation. Number 4, Sauce Gardner. Talk about somebody that keeps the fire going on a squad. Sauce is essentially the heartbeat of that scary Jets defense. And number 5 is Jonathan Taylor. Taylor is the key to the Colts offense, leaning on his running ability. And 2 games that he wasn't there this past season, they only came up with 2.5 yards per attempt without Taylor. It's my top 5.
Oh, that's solid. Even though you did extra credit without even teacher even asking for it. You trying to go to daggone hard.
I'm trying to tell you, boy. I'm trying to tell you. I try to make an L on this table, boy.
I know, boy. The teacher must pull you to the side, be like, "Look, you got to do this here."
I needed some extra credit. You know,
look, right now you got a 65. If you get this extra credit, we probably can bump you up to 80.
I'm trying to tell you, I did it too, boy. Look at me now, graduating.
Yeah, so boy, I'm sitting in the audience looking. I'm like, yo, I ain't know he was graduating. But yeah, that was solid though. No, I mean, all jokes aside, that was solid though. All right, so the last and final question is from my brother Keith. Keith Wright. Okay. He wants us to give NFC South predictions, and Keith, you a little early. We're gonna go ahead and get into them now. So in my order, this how it's gonna go down if I have to say so. Tampa Bay is gonna win the division again.
What?
I feel like they're gonna do it again. Atlanta is gonna make the playoffs. New Orleans and Carolina is gonna be sitting down, opening Christmas presents and wishing in the new year without a playoff spot.
What? That's how you got it?
That's how I got them for right now. They can change.
Well, of course, I did extra credit this week. I really did. I tell you, I don't know what got into me with this stuff. But
well, you want that diploma, don't you?
I did extra credit. I gave doggone predictions on the record and everything, man. The whole nine.
God almighty.
NFC South last year was really bad. At one point, nobody knew if anyone would finish with a winning record. Thankfully, the Saints and the Bucks finished with a 9-8 record, barely above 500. Now, the NFL gives the NFC South a gift in scheduling this year.
That's true.
All are ranked bottom 6. 3 of them are in the bottom 4 in ranks. Right? Let's give an overview on the Falcons. For the first time in like a decade, there's actually expectations for the Falcons.
The Dirty Boys.
The Dirty Boys.
Oh,
they do have the easiest schedule tied with the Saints. But, you know, all the drama that Michael Penix Jr. Brought along with Kirk will be something to see.
Yeah.
This year, they got 4 primetime games this season. Remind you, over the past 2 seasons, they only had 1 apiece, 1 for each season. They went 0-2. I think they win the division, which is a huge upgrade because over the past 6 seasons, they won 7 games or fewer. So I'm expecting a huge turnaround. I got them going 10-7. The only thing is the toughest weeks for them is like week 4 through 7. They got like divisional games, but it's at home. And this is that should be their chance to get some division between the rest of the division. They can part ways if they take care of business through week 4 and 7. All right, the Bucks. The Bucks, they took care of their own. You know, they didn't really bring anyone new in this offseason. And when you're looking at them and compare them to what the Falcons did in free agency, they ain't try to make no splash in free agency to try to compete with the Falcons. Not to mention they lost one of the best corners in trade and Carlton Davis, which is a glaring issue there. But looking at the schedule through week 7 and 10, they have Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs, and 49ers. And I think these games will hold weight to if they can repeat to win the NFC South again. So I got them going a solid 9 and 8. Then I have the Saints coming third, going 7 and 10. Not high on the Saints. Derek Carr is still kind of a wild card. Don't know how he will look overall. Saints are also in cap trouble. Really didn't bring anyone in to change the narrative. And if Derek Carr doesn't perform well, when will the last name Spencer rookie quarterback start? So that's speculation there. And then, of course, the Panthers. We already went in on the Panthers already. They got to continue to, rebuild the team. Yeah, definitely a rebuild. And I ain't gonna lie, week 12 through 15 is like tough for them. So I got them going. I got them going 5 and 11. So Falcons 10 and 7, Bucks 9 and 8, Saints 7 and 10, and Panthers 5 and 11.
Like that was good. Don't get me wrong, but the main reason why I put Tampa over Atlanta to win that division is that Atlanta got a first-year head coach. And
I didn't think about that.
They got fresh everything down there in Atlanta. So I can see Atlanta winning that division next year. Because let's face it, the NFC South is they South for a reason. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
And don't shade nobody in that division though. Like
I'm trying to tell you, but
I've seen that. Look, I've seen on more than one occasion that division being won on a losing record. That right there bodes that. But I think because Tampa has, like you said, but they ain't really go get nobody. But they have the most playoff experience.
That too.
And then they just won a playoff.
And Baker Mayfield played much better than I think he ever has in his career, honestly. I
don't know, because with that year he was in Cleveland with Todd Monken as his OC, man.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna lie, that Mike Evans upgrade helped him out.
but think about Baker though. His head coach was Hugh Jackson.
Yeah. And
this dude had like 6 head coaches in like 3 years.
That too.
It was the fact that Cleveland gave up. Now, Carolina, they could have been in this position had they kept Baker Mayfield.
You know what? They some dummies. I just thought about that.
Keith, had y'all kept Baker Mayfield,
y'all would have went to the playoffs.
You would have kept that first round pick.
Yeah, and you'd have went to the playoffs.
You would have went to the playoffs last year. And that's just me speculating.
Well, I don't know.
No, had they had really like stayed the course with Baker Mayfield, because he was there for like a cup of coffee, then he went to the Rams.
Yeah, but see,
and for what I saw when the Panthers played the Bengals, was the year before last. I mean, they didn't win, but Baker kept them in the game.
You're right. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Baker was better than what they had.
I forgot Baker. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously they pressed the start button on Bryce Young way too early. So
I ain't gonna say they.
Well, I'm not gonna say they pressed the start button, but I would say
they just didn't.
They didn't build around him correctly.
And it's just year one. Granted, it's just the first year.
Yeah, year one was bad. I tell you.
But he coming into an organization. This dude came into the organization that's already in rebuild mode.
Yeah, that's true.
And in the very fact that, you gave up a lot of capital to get him, and yet and still you're not building around him like that.
Yeah.
That don't match. That don't match. But for right now, just to reiterate, I got Tampa winning the division. I ain't give a record because I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna save that one. I got Tampa, Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina. And it was great. I mean, 5 wins for Carolina. I mean, they won just how many did they win last year?
2?
They won between 2 and 4.
I can't remember.
I can't remember how many they won last year. I do think, in all honesty, I think they improved maybe by a game or 2 this year.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do too much. They ain't gonna do too much island. I'm trying to tell you.
But Charlotte.
Panthers last year they won 2 games. Yeah, I was right. I wasn't even trying to play y'all close. 2-15.
They could have had the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, so I got them upgrading by 3 games. 5-11. Saints 7-10. Bucks 9-8. Falcons. It's no way, but we're gonna see. I don't know. It's a great tie between, because honestly, I only got the Bucks and Falcons being a game apart. So yeah, it's one of them. One of them going in.
Like as it stands right now, those 2 teams, Tampa Bay and Atlanta, they're probably the best 2 teams in that division, and that's not really saying much. But they're probably the best 2 in that division. But
I ain't hear what you said. Anything say nothing new. I'm sorry.
But I still think Tampa can. I mean, they've won a division 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They've won it, 3 years in a row, and they, but that's different regime, different quarterback, yada yada yada. But I still think Tampa Bay could get that division. It could be it could be honestly the last game of the year to get Tampa Bay in that division.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah, that's tough. But I think this is a good place for us to go and call it while we doing good here. So again, thank you to everybody, Keith, James, D Ward, everybody who commented and gave us those topics. That was very good topics. We might do this type of format again. We might do it again later on because we got some business to take care of when it come down to these divisions and conferences here. But as always, if you want to get in on this show, I'm talking about get in. First of all, go to Facebook and go join the Back Porch Sports Podcast War Room, where we're always chopping it up. We always talking. I put a funny cowboy hating meme in there. I think it said I'd rather sit out in the sun and sweat than sit with a bunch of cowboy fans.
You ain't lying, bro. You ain't lying.
And also, man,
I'm ready for that part of the season to start.
Yes, I'm already because we played on week 3. So so they got it. They on my radar. Don't even worry about it. They on my radar. Y'all, it's up now.
It really is up, ain't it?
If I hear we them boys one time,
I swear it's gonna be over. I think they come to Pittsburgh too.
Yeah. Boy, I can see them. I see the memes coming.
Falling star. I can see the stars falling now. I tell you. I don't even want to make a wish, boy. Good. It'd be fun if we had like a cowboy fan, like at least 2 cowboy fans up here, them diehard fans. Let them defend I don't know where they at. They go hiding after the season.
It's like they start off so good, and then by the time you get to November,
Green Bay
December,
Green Bay put that Wisconsin cheese on them. But what's that cheese that you squirt out the bottle?
That daggone cheese whiz. Yeah. Boy, they dropped the shoes. It's like the Gap bad boy. Why you burn rubber on me? Well, we gonna get out of here. Hey, look, if this content was good for y'all, man, y'all please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. We want everybody to see this, man. So, bro, you got anything you want to add?
Not at all, man.
This dude say
cheese whiz on the star, boy.
Yes,
Call them Star Whiz. Good.
Oops upside your head. Type stuff. But we gonna get out of here. This has been the Bad Boy Sports Podcast with your man for
and Quan.
we out, y'all.